So earlier today, or not earlier today, early on the show, before the show started right now, I just played the Mary J. Blige Burger King commercial. They had it taken off the air. Mary J. Blige did this Burger King commercial where she's singing about crispy chicken wraps. Let me play it one more time for those who have not heard it. It was a little controversial. This Burger King commercial Mary J. Blige did. I think it aired a few times on television, and they pulled it because a lot of black folks were embarrassed by it. Because, Mary J. she's an icon, and she's singing about some goddamn crispy chicken wraps. So this is the song again.
Crispy chicken, fresh lettuce, 3 cheeses, fresh dressing wrapped up in a tasty flour tortilla.
So that's the song, and a lot of people were kind of upset with Mary about that, and it is kind of a bad look for Mary. And look, you get your money however you get your money, but the thing is, singing about some damn crispy chicken wraps, they could have had Mary sing about a Whopper Jr. or a BK Fish Burger, some shit, or some onion rings. They didn't have to have Mary singing about no damn crispy chicken. And I think a lot of people are a little rubbed the wrong way about it. It's because the song just kind of sounds, she phoned it in. She's not singing, she's not putting her heart into it. You can tell even by the way she's singing that she's almost embarrassed to be doing the commercial. But it's like people are saying, oh, did Mary sell out? I mean, again, it just depends on where you are financially. And this is Mary J. Blige. She's the queen of hip hop damn soul. She shouldn't be singing about no damn crispy damn chicken wraps. I like the old Mary. Now, how many of you would do that, though? I mean, you're at the height of your career. You dig what I'm saying? You're at the height of your career. You hot. You the hottest thing in the game. And then you end up having to do a crispy chicken snack wrap commercial. That's not really a good look. I mean, listen to the old Mary. Come on, Mary went. This is the old Mary. This is the Mary I remember. Let's remix it. All right, that's enough for that. But again, with Mary J. Blige, I love Mary J. Blige, and I'm not saying that I'm above doing a commercial like that. It just depends on where you are. And that's the theme of today's show. Are you a hoe or are you a hustler? Because the decisions you make will determine whether you're a hoe or a hustler or not. Now, was Mary being a whore to the game, or was she hustling the game? Because I heard that she got $2 million for doing that commercial. Don't know how true that is. That's just on the rumor mill that she got $2 million for doing the crispy chicken wrap commercial. And I had to think about that. That's $2 million. If you were at the height of your career, would you do a crispy chicken wrap commercial or a commercial that was deemed derogatory to your culture? Would you do that? No, I'm not. I've turned down money before. I'm not starving for money. I've turned down money before, but $2 million, I might have to flip the game. That's why I'm not saying hey or nay, because I don't want to seem like a hypocrite if y'all turn on TV one day and y'all see me singing and dancing in front of a soul food restaurant. I'm not above it. I'd be getting my damn groove on for $2 million. I'd be like, hot chitlins, pickle pig feet, hot water, cornbread. I sing my damn ass off. If I needed the money. If I really needed the money, I don't know. I might be doing the damn Dougie with a chicken wrap in my hand. So I can't say I'm above that. But that's the theme of today's show. Are you a hoe or a hustler? What would you do strictly for the money? And I say this to people in the game, men and women who are in the game on the street level. Are you in the game for money strictly? Because truth be told, if you're going to play the game by the book, you're not supposed to be in the game strictly for the money. You should be in it for the game and for the knowledge, and the knowledge in the game will accumulate money. The money is the byproduct of the knowledge in the ism. You know, some people like the thrill of the game, but you really are supposed to be in the game for the knowledge, because that knowledge can transcend the game. And so you have to understand the basic difference between a hoe or a hustler. See, the thing is, a hoe does a lot for a little, and a hustler does a little for a lot. Let that soak in for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Let that soak in, so y'all can really get where I'm coming from. The difference between a hoe and a hustler is that a hoe does a lot for a little, and a hustler does a little for a lot. It's all about the effort you put into something and the thing you get out of it. It's about the energy you put in something and the energy you get back. The energy should be greater than the energy you put in. If the energy is just equal, you're not hustling hard enough. You hoeing. The energy has to be greater. Let me give you an example. Let's break it down as far as the game on a street level, like porn chicks. A porn hoe does a lot for the little amount of money she gets. When you look at a porn movie, they're beating the brakes off that cooch. They flipping her, running trains on the chick. They doing a whole lot. Busting on her face. They doing a whole lot. And the chick is getting a couple of $100 plus all her information and her business is out there. Everybody knows her business. So that's not too good of a reward for what you're doing. You're doing a lot and you're getting a little for what you're doing. Just like a flatback hoe. A hoe who's in the game who's a flatbacker, that's a chick who does a specific sex act for one set price. That's a flatback hoe. There's a lot of them out there, a lot of flatback hoes out there. But the thing is, the difference between a flatback hoe and a real hustler is that the hustling chick will really spit for her paper. She uses her mouthpiece to really talk up on paper. And if she does any kind of sex act, it's going to be a minimal act, but she will do it for a lot. That is a hustler. You're hustling the game. Just like with the Mary J commercial. I mean, she's singing about some damn crispy chicken snack wraps. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's fucked up. But shit, she got $2 million for singing that bullshit. So, can we hate? Is that hate worthy? We got to be a hustler about it. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of females out here who feel like just because they're not getting no money that they're not a hoe. And I talked about this before. You still a hoe, ladies. I've said this a million times. If you're out here sexing and doing whatever, and you ain't getting no money, you still a hoe. You just a broke hoe. But still a hoe nonetheless. And that's another difference between a slut and a hoe. See, and I've talked about this a million times. Let me reiterate. The difference between a slut and a hoe is self-awareness. A hoe knows what she's having sex for. A slut is trying to find herself. So you have to be aware of all those terms in the game. Because a lot of people, when you hear the word hoe, hustler, and all that, a lot of people are thrown off and you try to distance yourself from it. But there's a lot of you guys out there, ladies, and I'm going to get on the dudes in a minute because there's some dudes out there who's being hoes. But a lot of ladies out here, just because you ain't getting no paper for what you doing don't make you any less of a hoe. Especially you ladies out here cheating on your boyfriend. You got a man and you fucking another dude, you're just a deceptive hoe. Forget about the reason why you're doing it. A lot of people try to qualify their hoishness with certain reasons. I wasn't being held. I wasn't being this. I was being ignored. You're just an ignored hoe. Let's not try to qualify it. And another thing, this is the thing too. Just because a female dresses a certain way, I don't think that makes her a hoe. A lot of times people think a girl is a hoe just based on the way she dresses. That means nothing, because a lot of females who dress in scantily clad outfits, they're the biggest squares out there. They ain't having sex with nobody. So if you see a chick with titties out, ass out, thong showing, see-through dress or whatever, she's not necessarily a hoe, but she is a stank. So you have to understand the difference between a hoe and a stank. A stank is just out here trying to get any kind of attention she can get out of desperation. So they're not even into the mix. We're just talking about hoes and hustlers. So the thing is, in the game, a bona fide hoe, that's a hustler, a female hustler who has soaked up some game. She has soaked up the ism and she's playing the game by the rule book. See, you judge a good hustling girl by the conversation she holds. That's how you can tell a real good hustling broad, by the conversation she has. I'm not talking about just a chick who done fucked a bunch of people and she might have lucked up on a couple of good dollars. That don't mean nothing, because she's still in the low budget hoe category because she had to do a lot just to luck up. But the thing is, a real bona fide, true to the game hoe who has soaked up some of that ism and elevated her game to hustler status, you can pop your collar to that. And again, you can tell a female like this by the conversation she has. And the thing is, if a female she's not a good talker, that means she's not a good listener. Therefore, she can't be a good hustler. If she's not a good listener and she's not a good talker, she's going to be stuck in her own world of delusion and confusion. She's kind of stuck in her own mind. That's what a broad who don't listen, they run themselves in circles and they never come out on the top end of the game. So you have to understand all this stuff. And I'm talking to the hustling women out there, because I got a lot of hustling women who listen to the show. But again, a bona fide hoe, and don't be thrown off by these terms, ladies and gentlemen, but a bona fide hoe who has soaked up the game and the ism, she can rely on that game and just not sex. You understand what I'm saying? Because the thing is, the sex thing, you can't rely on that forever, ladies. When you have that ism and you got that hustler mentality, you can rely on your game. Your game is your backup, and you can parlay that game into other facets of life. That's why dudes who are real true to the game hustlers, they can progress themselves out the game and parlay that into other things. And a female who listens to that game, she can do the same thing. She can get out of the whole mentality and get into the hustler mentality and learn how to parlay herself into other aspects of life when she cannot solely rely on the physical attributes. Because you have a lot of women out here who don't want to soak up no game. They think that they can rely on those physical attributes forever. And the shit don't work like that. And all of a sudden they realize that that shape done got real flicked looking. The looks done hit the wall. Now they broke as hell, working at Burger King selling this.
Crispy chicken, fresh lettuce, 3 cheeses, French dressing wrapped up in a tasty flour tortilla.
They somewhere selling crispy fucking chicken wraps. So always think like a hustler. You gotta have that hustler mentality. That's inevitable if you're gonna be in the game and just in life. And the thing is, let me get on the dudes, because I'm not just talking to the women out here, because there's a lot of you dudes who act like hoes too. A lot of you dudes have a hoe mentality. A lot of you dudes will do anything for material little bullshit. That's a hoe mentality. You'll just do anything for some paper. You compromise your dignity and your integrity just to get a little paper, or just to get some little material things. Even niggas doing robberies for little bullshit, that's kind of a whole mentality. You're doing it really for not that big of a reward. The risks are greater than the rewards. But when it comes to just on a intimate or sex level, a lot of these dudes, y'all mess with these big fat bras who you know they're not attractive, but you'll fuck them just so you can have a place to stay. You thinking like a hoe. You're whoring yourself out. It's like low budget gigoloing. I talked about that in my book, The Art of Mackin', that low budget gigolo mentality. And gigolo, let's talk about the professional gigolos, because professional male gigolos are basically male hoes, because they will have sex strictly for the money. That's why these dudes will have sex with old, elderly chicks and all this old stuff. They have sex with old broads, and a lot of these gigolo dudes, because they're just basically selling sex, a lot of these dudes are bisexual, so they'll sell the sex to anybody, man or woman. And again, you have to qualify, because sometimes you have to look at the reward, and if the reward is great, sometimes you might have to take that L. For example, like Oprah. I might tap Oprah. It just depends on how much I'm getting. You know, I'm not above banging Oprah for a couple of million. Just as long as she put on some socks so I don't see them feet. Oprah's feet are kind of rough. But I would have to get all the shit in writing before I get it. But the thing is, again, I'm thinking like a hustler right there. You got to think like a goddamn hustler. A lot of these dudes out here, man, a lot of y'all dudes, and let me get real deep for a minute. A lot of these dudes, man, be getting molested at an old age. See, a lot of dudes who be talking about they got molested at 16 and 17. A lot of these niggas, man, what y'all doing? Y'all are tricking off your little booty holes. Because 16 and 17, I'm going to keep it 100. Some of y'all, that's too fucking old to be getting molested for a dude. And a lot of these niggas be quote unquote getting molested because they find some old sugar daddy, some old fucking perverted douchebag, and the perverted dude offers them little material bullshit, and then y'all niggas start negotiating with yourself. You meet some old nigga who's just a little bit too friendly, some old elderly nigga trying to be a mentor. You 16, 17. He starts offering stuff. Then he gets a little bit too intimate with you. You start thinking, you're like, well, shit. I guess I could let this nigga rub my booty for them new Jordans. See, you start thinking like a hoe. You're like, damn, I guess I can let this nigga tickle my taint for a fucking iPhone. It won't hurt. You thinking like a hoe. Because you're too old to be getting molested at 16 and 17. Hell, even 15. You can get a nigga off your ass at 15, 16, 17, and you're a dude. Just like with the Bishop Eddie Long thing, with all that old shit that happened with Bishop Eddie Long, those dudes were like older teenagers. And they made it seem like Eddie Long took advantage of those guys. And again, I said Eddie wrong, Freudian slip. Eddie Long was wrong for doing what he did. I'm not trying to justify that asshole for nothing. But the thing is, these dudes, they were old enough to know what was going on. And the thing is, they were getting money from Bishop Eddie Long. They were tricking off their little booty holes. These were like 17, 18-year-old dudes. They knew, you know what a dick in your ass is about. That ain't got nothing to do with church. A dick in your mouth ain't got shit to do with the gospel. You know that. You old enough to know that. These dudes were tricking off their damn booty holes. They were getting all types of little money and gifts and cars and shit from Eddie Long. And then when Eddie Long stopped giving it to him, that's when they told on him. So they were acting like little hoes out here in the game. So the point is, y'all dudes got to stop being hoes to the game and be hustlers. Because again, we have so many kids who are materialistic out here. And we worship material things where you compromise your integrity to get these material things. So you do not be a hoe. Always be a hustler about yours. And this is why I was doing an interview the other day. I was talking about people speaking out in the media, especially black folks, black public figures speaking out about the Trayvon Martin case. And I heard something about the people at ESPN. They told some of the athletes who are commentators that they couldn't mention the Trayvon Martin case. And to me, that was kind of sad. They put you in a whole position. They check you. They're like, look, I'm paying you, so you do what I say or you don't do what I say. You dig what I'm saying? And that's sad that a lot of black folks are in that position. You can't say what's on your mind for fear of financial retribution. because somebody's paying you. Now you have to keep your mouth shut about certain things. See, the sports industry is like that now. See, back in the day, and I talked about this many times, athletes and black entertainers, they would say what was on their mind back in the 60s. Muhammad Ali, they became icons. Dick Gregory, comedians, Jim Brown, they were hustlers about theirs. They all banded together. They said that what was on their mind. They're like, damn the status quo. We see injustice. We want to speak out against it. A lot of black entertainers can't do that now, especially athletes. They put all these clauses in their contracts and they do all these things and they keep them from saying certain things in the media. And they'll get fined and they'll get reprimanded if they deviate from that. And that's a sad thing, because a lot of times when these guys, especially football players, when they retire, they end up going broke after 5 years. So you've compromised your integrity, and at the end of the day, you may or may not have something to show for it. A lot of folks don't know, like 80%, I think this is the number, between 70 and 80% of all football players, when they retire, they end up broke or going bankrupt or divorced. So the thing is, they keep these cats on a real short leash. And I'm going to have to do a whole show about that later on down the line, so don't trip. I'm going to have to do a whole show about that. But the thing is, man, you got to be a hustler about yours. Always be your boss. Always be a person who will choose the integrity route. Don't just do stuff for the paper. Do stuff for the game or for the thrill of the game, because the paper will come. The paper is always going to be secondary. The money will always come. Just always have integrity about what you do. Because when that paper run out and you done some real flagrant shit for that paper, your money's going to be gone and your integrity is going to be gone. And you're going to be double ass out. So you got to think like a hustler. That means thinking in the long term. And shout out to the brother Ruben Studdard. I got to give Ruben Studdard a shout out, because he thought long term. He was a hustler about his. Ruben Studdard, for those who don't know, the brother from American Idol, the singer, he got married a couple of years ago to some video chick. She was in a tip drill video. So everybody was kind of questioning him on why he would even wife that up. But he married the girl from the tip drill video, and sure enough, they got a divorce. And TMZ, they were reporting that he had an ironclad prenuptial agreement. So I pop my collar to Ruben, because I see a lot of these athletes like Kobe Bryant. This nigga's worth shit, damn near $500 million, and you don't sign a prenup, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. Ruben Studdard is still counting his little pieces of American Idol money, and he put that prenup on our ass, and I ain't mad at him. I am not mad at him. Pop my collar to Ruben Studdard. And that chick he was married to, she done went from filet mignon to this. That's right. Her ass went to the crispy chicken wraps, goddammit. But anyway, before I get out of here, I want to just mention the whole Trayvon Martin thing. Today is Wednesday, April 2011, and later on today, I think they're going to file charges against George Zimmerman. I think they're going to finally file charges against him. And I mean, they're real close to doing that. It's like late in the afternoon, so we're waiting on that to fall through. And that's a good thing, because I know a lot of international press is starting to jump on the whole Trayvon Martin situation. And I know that the United Nations started to look into it, which is very important. And I say this to black folks. Stuff like this, when we have injustices like this, we got to start thinking globally. We got to start taking our cases to the United Nations and to the international courts. Because the thing is, protesting these courthouses here and protesting these police departments, I mean, these are the people who are in cahoots with all of the bullshit. So we're going to start we got to start thinking globally. We got to start hitting up the UN and hitting up all these international courts and really letting people know what's going on. Because the thing is, you have to understand that most of the world are brown people. A lot of these delegates at the UN, they're brown people. So they understand. And when you make a case for human rights, because that whole Trayvon Martin thing, that's about human rights. See, if you go to the international world courts and all that, you can't go in there with the civil rights talk. You got to go in there and let them know that human rights are being violated. When a kid gets shot and the person does not get arrested, that's a human rights violation. Because that shit don't happen in any third world countries, especially not during wartime. It's not wartime over here. So when there's just regular society popping off and there's not a war and somebody just gets killed in cold blood and nobody gets arrested, that's a red flag. That doesn't happen nowhere. Somebody will get arrested. So for a country like the United States, for something like that to happen, that's crazy. And a lot of people internationally are shocked by this. So this would be a perfect opportunity for black folks, black American people, to get to the world courts and let them know what's popping, especially with the police brutality, the cops shooting cats all over the place. That the brother Malcolm X in the 60s, he was going to go to the UN and the international courts and plead the case for black folks, but they ended up killing him. So the thing is, a number of us have to be on that mentality and take our situation to the world courts and let people know what's going on so we can get some damn retribution going on. So we can get things handled like that and let everybody know what's popping. So anyway, just think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. I digress. Anyway, y'all, that's been today's episode of the Mac Lessons Radio Show.